upstream of the overflow area. WSSE's Water's ongoing essential water use request has nothing to do with the sewage overflow occurring after the collapse. They are also available post-conference to respond to questions related to their operations. Let's go ahead and get started. To prevent all of us from getting frostbite, you are also welcome to send your follow-up questions to our inbox. That is nab-pao@usace.army.mil. And that contact is in your media advisory that you received today. Once we are done with Q&A, we will also be taking a raw sample that you are welcome to film. So we'll move on over to that afterwards, and we'll let you know exactly where that will be done. Without further delay, I'd like to get U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Baltimore District Commander Colonel Francis Pera up to the podium.
Hey, thank you very much, Cynthia. As she mentioned, my name is Colonel Francis Pera. I'm the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Baltimore District, who provides oversight over the Washington Aqueduct. The daily operations, are conducted under the watchful eye of our expert, Rudy Chow, who will be talking to you in just a little while. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that, providing safe drinking water is a regional effort. We are part of that combination in conjunction with our wholesale customer board, DC Water, Arlington Water, Fairfax Water. This update for you today is really a follow-on to a press release on 24 January where we highlighted that the impact from the sewage spill is not creating an unsafe condition for the water that you receive from the Washington Aqueduct. We're fully dedicated and equipped really to deal with a lot of issues as far as water quality goes at the aqueduct, but at this time, as I previously mentioned, we are standing on the site of the intake for the Great Falls conduit. And the Great Falls conduit, as you can see from this diagram, is right here at location 1. Location 2 is where the sewage spill is happening at the Potomac interconnect. Location 3 is our secondary intake at the Little Falls pumping station, and location 4 is where the Del Carlio water treatment plant is located. At location 1 where we are today, this is a gravity-fed system. We have 2 parallel conduits, both capable of supporting our normal demand load. On any given day, we expect in this environment about 130 million gallons of water to be distributed from the Washington Aqueduct. Each one of those conduits can handle close to 200 million gallons. They're redundant to each other. We're currently only using one at this time. Both of those have gone through recent service, and we have no reason to believe that they will fail in any given time soon. As a result, we are primarily using our gravity-fed system that's currently north of the Potomac interconnect sewage spill. To the south, we have Little Falls Pumping Station. Little Falls Pumping Station often comes into effect when we have either a low flow situation from Great Falls where gravity-fed systems can't support the demand, and we have to turn on the Little Falls Pumping Station. That's normally during the summer months. At this time, Little Falls Pumping Station is turned off. All of the water coming into the Washington Aqueduct remains, like I previously mentioned, from the gravity-fed system from the Great Falls intake and not the Little Falls Pumping Station. At this time, everything being treated from the Del Carlio plant is safe and unaffected by the interconnect spill. To explain a little bit further, Rudy Chow will describe exactly how we go through our water treatment process, and as we discussed earlier, we'll give you an opportunity to see exactly how we do our testing. Please welcome Rudy Chow.
Thank you, Colonel Pera. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rudy Chow. I'm the General Manager at Washington Aqueduct. Besides what Colonel Pera had mentioned, let me just expand a little bit more details in terms of the treatment and the process and so on and all that. As mentioned, we pull water from Great Falls, which is point 1. At this point, we are pulling exclusively from Great Falls intake, where we're standing right now. We're not taking any water from Little Falls pumping station because the low demand, and at the same time, part of the reason is also because the sewage spill. And we operate a second water plant next to Howard University. So in other words, we pull water from Great Falls that feed both water systems. At this time, and both of them are online, producing about 130 combined million gallons on a daily basis for our 3 wholesale customers: DC Water, Arlington County, as well as Fairfax Water. Of course, water quality to the plant is an important aspect of what we do, and our water quality is excellent. And of course, we meet and exceed all EPA environmental requirements under the Safe Drinking Water Act. And of course, our lab is an essential part of our operation. They conduct about 65,000 testing on an annual basis, and for all kind of organics, inorganics, or metals and concentrations, so and all that, and hundreds of other elements that we test and compound, and all these are done through our certified laboratory certification by EPA. And of course, testing provides us crucial information about our treatment, the final product, our finished water going to the system, and the verification of that quality standard that we are striving for. And of course, routine samples. Routine samples are collected on a daily basis, 5 days a week, at Great Falls and Little Falls when Little Falls pumping station is online. And of course, at the current time, because the spill, we are actually conducting about all the sampling on the daily basis. That means 7 days a week. So we're adding additional 2 days monitor on the daily basis to make sure the sample is showing. Of course, as expected, the sample results are very high concentration of bacteria and fecal coliforms, as well as E. coli in the Potomac River at Little Falls pumping station, which is point number 3. That's where we are showing up. Of course, that pumping station is offline, but we're doing that just to monitor the situation there, and so when we can determine basically the water quality has returned to normal. And of course, that's all depends on DC when they can get the pipe repairs and so on, all that. Now, in addition, I'd like to just mention a few things what we do in the winter months in preparation. As mentioned, this is a gravity-fed system. And we're doing this because the fact that the water flows, we don't need electricity, we don't need any pumps and so on, all that. And so it's cheap and it's efficient. In the winter months, of course, our staff is on their job 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, right? And they are always on the job, even during inclement weather. So during inclement weather time, we actually provide sleeping quarters and all that for our staff, so they can stay on the plant and going through their rotation and then doing all the routine requirements and to making sure all the processes are actually functioning properly. And of course, over here, we are also using what we call an ice eater. This is something that is a propeller, basically making sure at the intake the water is turned over, moving the water below the surface to the surface. And so in other words, preventing the water from freezing. Because when the water freezes up, and that will prohibit the flow of uninterrupted flow into our intake. Well, at this time, we open for any questions you might have for us. Yes, sir.
So you have been testing every day since before the spill. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Before the spill, we do 5 days a week, and since the spill, we've been doing 7 days a week.
At both this location and Little Falls?
That's correct.
Are those the only 2 locations?
That's correct.
So can you release that data? You just said it's very high. Can you tell us exactly what contaminants or bacteria that you have found, particularly downriver of the spill?
Well, I mean, all I can say is that when we're testing for E. coli as well as fecal coliform, those numbers are extremely high, right? These are a measurement of in terms of the water quality itself. And then I would say since the recent, I guess, the bypass that has been put in place by DC Water, the number has come way down, but it's still not quite to the standard as a norm.
I appreciate it. Can you tell us the exact numbers? Will you release that data?
We are looking at about 500,000 parts, right? And normally our quality at the intake is about 100. So that just gives you some relatives in terms of comparison. And then since the bypassing service, the number has come down to about 100,000. So we're still far from
Talking at Little Falls.
Little Falls. That's
Yes.
correct.
So, and again, I'm not a scientist, so these numbers don't mean a lot to me when you put them in that context. The Potomac Riverkeepers released results downriver that they say showed the rate to be 12,000 times higher than the allowable standard. Is that concurrent with your findings downriver?
I haven't done that calculation, but if that's what that's what Riverkeeper, if that's what Dean says, and we're going to have to probably verify. We can do a follow up after this press.
So, but why won't you just release your data for us to look at ourselves?
Well, if we release, I mean, like I said, we'll probably talk about it, and then at the appropriate time we'll release it. And obviously the numbers.
I don't understand the reluctance to not release this data to the public at a time when there are hundreds of millions of gallons of raw sewage in the Potomac River.
Right. Remember, we have 3 wholesale customers, right? So these numbers we need to share with our wholesale customers first, right?
So the public are your customers. I mean, at the end of the day, I realize the jurisdictions buy the water from you, but I just don't understand your reluctance to release these numbers.
I said at this point, if you're looking for a number, I don't have that off the top of my head. Like I said, we can do follow ups.
That's all I'm asking.
We can follow up.
Provide them.
Today.
We should be able to get you at least some recent numbers today.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, what would happen if this, for whatever reason, if this facility were not capable of functioning right now?
Well, I think that's a hypothetical. At this time, the Great Falls is working well, is functioning well, is providing the water for our 3 host customers, and is functioning well. And then if we are, and you're talking about hypothetical, right? So then we talk about adjusting our treatment processes to make sure that we can overcome that.
And then are you able to, I don't know your expertise, but are you able to tell us what the long-term effect of all this sewage in the river is, particularly given that it's going in at a time when the water temperatures are at freezing levels? Is that better or worse for the environment? Does it have make it a more long-term effect? Is that something that you can speak to, or anybody?
I can only comment on the sewage is going to the Potomac River, and there's dilutions taking place, right? The water is going to continue to flow southward, right? And then the dilution is going to continue to happen, and so yeah.
Is there any concerns about how that's going to impact like the seafood industry downstream? There's a lot of like shellfish down in the St. Mary's County area, for instance, and eventually the Bay. Like, are we seeing the impact going to stretch all the way down that way?
Let me just say this. I mean, our focus is drinking water, right? So the effect of the impact of the spills and all that, I certainly would defer to DC Water.
Have you had to change how you're treating the water? Have you had to like up any specific filtration measures in order to account for the quantity or quality of the water that you're intaking?
Not at all. I mean, no, like I said, the water over here at Great Falls at our intake at this time is everything is normal. So we haven't adjusted our process. Everything is going through a normal process and is producing excellent water.
You say there's no impact on drinking water at this point in time, but kind of what we've been saying, scientists have said that they've seen severe, greatly elevated levels of E. coli. When do people need to start worrying about that? How much E. coli needs to be in the river before drinking water is impacted?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, again, on the stress, our water are taking water from Great Falls, not at Little Falls. That's where the concentration is high, which is south or downstream of where the break is, right? That pumping station remain offline. So we're not taking any water from there at all. So our water is all upstream, is from here, and the concentration and the water quality is normal as always.
So just to be clear, so the Little Falls pumping station is downstream from the collapse. They're saying none of the 40 million, however much sewage that's been dumped, that's not impacting the Little Falls pumping station at all. None of that sewage.
The intake at Little Falls pumping station is shut off. So in other words, we're not taking a drop of water through Little Falls pumping station for our water.
And how long has it been shut off? Since before the spill?
Yeah, it's been before the spill. Remember, in the winter months, we have 2 conduits from Great Falls That's our normal operations. So it's been offline. We didn't shut down Little Falls because of the spill. It was already offline.
And then, will you have to do anything to bring it back online differently because of the sewage going down there? Will there,
No.
How long is it going to take for levels to get back to normal, and what is it going to take?
I guess we'll have to wait to see until when DC Waters complete their repairs. And then, of course, we'll continue to monitor the water quality at Little Falls. When the number, the water quality reads become normal, and then that's when we'll consider that it can go back online. But again, at this time of the year, there's no reason for us to operate the Little Falls pumping station at all.
How much time passed between the pipe bursting and like the change in your operations in order to accommodate the water quality?
Again, we haven't changed our operation at all.
Okay, we'll wrap this up and we'll go ahead and collect the water sample, Robert. So if you all want to switch cameras over, Mark, I can get with you in just a second on the water quality level so we can get you some info here, and then try to do our best to translate it to what we've been receiving from our Uber keeper. My mouth is literally freezing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Robert, please, come on this way.
sorry, I'm doing like that. Oh, that's all right.